Aloha, I'm Felicia Miller Johnson, and I conduct work life video interviews with career professionals that become an all intuitive conversation. Aloha, and welcome to another episode of All Intuitive Conversation. I'm Felicia Miller Johnson, and I encourage individuals to live smart and ascend to new levels of work life success. So today I have the pleasure of connecting with friend, colleague, fellow influencer on YouTube, maybe. So today I have the pleasure of connecting with Tim. And Tim and I connected a little while ago. It's probably been over a year, at least 2 years, maybe at this point, in a fellow group circle. But we've never had a one-to-one conversation before. So let's bring him to the screen. Aloha, Tim.
Hi, Felicia. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you for being open to having this all intuitive conversation with me and giving me the opportunity to learn a little bit more about you and your story. So, like I was just sharing, that time has really gone by because we've been acquainted or connected, I know on LinkedIn for at least 2 years, but we've never really had a one-on-one conversation
Yep.
before. So I'm looking forward to learning a little bit more about you. And so the first thing that's kind of coming through that is immediately asking to ask of you is, tell me about your nature background.
Oh, so my nature background is by the Delaware River. You can't see the river very much, but it's on that side. It was somewhere.
Water, river. Keep going.
Yeah, and I love to take walks along the Delaware River, and there's also a waterfall about half an hour away. I love to go to, and I really started embracing nature and walking more during COVID. Like every morning early, I would get up before everything, got crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then also I'm almost a 17-year cancer survivor. So nature really helps bring me peace and tranquility, especially in the challenging parts of the journey.
Well, like I said, already a woman sitting here, observing the ocean and looking out. And here's what it says on the card, Tim. It says loving, compassionate, psychic, self-sacrificing, deep psychic insights, caring for others, but forgetting to take care of yourself. Trust your intuition, a deep love of family and friends, follow your heart. So I heard you just saying that part about caring for others, but forgetting to take care of yourself. So it kind of sounds like, basically, like you said, with being a 17-year cancer survivor and with the COVID, that seems like you're doing a little bit more to care for yourself.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And also this year, basically in terms of my cancer journey, I was in cancer for about 15 years. My cancer went away for a year and a half, and it came back within the last year. So I've really been embracing ways to care for myself and also just to find joy. Even in a cancer struggle, it's important to find joy.
um, it's interesting because immediately today I was drawn to lapis lazuli when I was connecting with you. In this pyramid, in this blue, and then I noted I was like, I'm just wearing blue today, and of course you seem to be wearing blue, so it was just like I was
Favorite
just
color.
well, there it is. So I was like, but I didn't. A lot of times when we talk about blue, in the sense of sometimes it could be considered with sadness, I was not feeling that when I was connected to the blue today and wearing it, and now I'm hearing that it is your favorite color. So with the news that you've heard about your cancer coming back, how have you kept your spirits up, avoided, because I'm not sensing that energy that I'm blue or down about it,
Mhm.
but yet I'm just embracing and loving myself where I am right now. So tell me more about that.
Yeah, so I definitely do sometimes have moments where I'm blue for sure. The mental
Mhm,
part is the most difficult part. But
mhm,
I host a show on LinkedIn and other platforms called Showing Up Perspectives on Cancer, where we have cancer survivors, supporters, and patients share their stories. And so we have conversations with them, and then we have a beautiful global community who shows up in the chat on LinkedIn, especially. And
mhm,
being able to connect with other people who have we all have our own personal cancer journeys, but being able to relate in certain parts of our journey has been really incredible. Like, I created the show to help other people, but when my cancer came back, I was supported so much.
mm. Well, it's interesting because the next card that came up here has to do with the theme of integrity, but literally says on the trigger statement, it's their fault, which could be something of thinking where if that comes back, is that something that potentially, came in the mindset? But the true statement says, my thoughts are the cause of my suffering. As emotions rise, go within to see what stories and memories are fueling them. Then release what is not serving you with gratitude. So the question that's coming through, what was the difference in your emotions and feelings between 15 years ago, 17 years ago when you first learned about your cancer situation and then hearing that it came back, within the last year? Like, what would be the difference in your emotions or feelings between those two kind of doctor notifications, diagnosis?
So my cancer coming back has actually been a lot harder than originally being diagnosed with cancer.
Hmm.
Um, I've had a very blessed journey in terms of, yes, I have cancer. I didn't have cancer. I had cancer. If you go backwards in chronology, um, but my I have never felt sick either from cancer or from I take oral chemotherapy medication to treat it, and probably will for the rest of my life, whether I'm in cancer or out of cancer, because it's a
Mhm.
chronic leukemia. Um, but the mental part has been the most challenging, and especially with the cancer coming back.
So the next thing that came out is back to the blue. And the
Okay.
trigger statement says, what is the point of it all? True statement, I am special. You have a unique place in this world with gifts and talents that only you can provide. Use your connection with the divine to share them. And so that's resonating back with how you were saying you have your group in your podcast to talk about, cancer and your experiences. So with this rediagnosis, what's inspired you to continue on with your show?
All the people who show up every week. There have certainly been days, and doing a weekly show with questions about cancer when you're in cancer, that's
Mhm,
hard. But to have the support of the people who show up in the comments,
mhm.
that that is everything.
Well, I wanted to share because we get comments because usually when I'm doing the show, I'm totally focused, and so it was like, huh, there are comments here already. So I wanted you to know that you are still definitely supported because Nancy has joined the call. She is saying hi, saying it was great to see both of us. Thank you, Tim, for sharing your story and you are inspiring so many people. Um,
Thank you, Nancy.
for sure. Thank you, Nancy, for joining. Because, like I said, I usually don't even really pay attention to that, but when you talked about the
Yeah.
comments, that kind of came up. The other thing that came up was when I went to look back to the lapis lazuli here. I'm going to read you some of the things that it talks about in the energy vibe that it says. It said, promotes spiritual awareness, enlightenment, purpose, intuitive abilities, and truth. Helps to foster full, truthful, and clear verbal expression. Promotes friendship and harmony in relationships. Helps reduce helps reduce tensions in the body and nausea related to headaches and migraines. And it's helpful for digestive issues, metabolism, and abdominal pain. So, based on some of the benefits that lapis lazuli kind of has, it's like it's triggering like lots of different things in the sense of what we just talked about. So, I'm going to ask you, how do those things resonate with this energy vibe and what you're experiencing right now?
So I have been getting a lot of migraines lately. I have a
Uh-huh.
history of them, and the last few weeks they've been especially bad. So I would say that is the connection.
Okay, so may I encourage you that you get you some of these lapis
Yeah.
lazuli in order to kind of just comfort you just during the journey. And one of those things when you're selecting something, you'll connect with it, just the energetic vibe that you have with that, and the fact that it's your favorite color, blue. Um,
Yeah.
that will encourage you in the way to that. So, before you started your show, tell me about Tim at age 11.
Age 11. Wow, going way back.
Mhm.
I was living in Lake Carmel, New York. Um, it was a year after I have 2 sisters, and one of them passed away the year before. Shortly
Mm,
after we originally lived in New York City, and then we moved about an hour and a half north in New York State.
mm,
Um, yeah, I would say 11 was a year of adjustment. You know, we had moved and losing my sister, and also my uncle had passed from Hodgkin's lymphoma in the same year that my sister passed. So it was a hard year for my mom, and you know, a lot of transition that time period, I would say.
mhm. Um, so when you were sharing that, the next thing that came up here is still going back to the journey of your detoxification, of clearing out something, like I said, energetically from your body. And the theme is cleansing. The trigger statement says, I will never change. True statement, in each moment, I am a new me. You are supported as you release habits and limiting patterns that are not serving your highest good. Again, going back to cleansing, detoxification. Um, but then when you were talking about the changing and the transitions for the families, so between 11, because now it's going to fast forward, what do you say was the biggest change for you going from 11 to 12?
I would say it was just more it was more transition. It had been longer since my sister had passed, and my family isn't someone or people really who talk much about my sister passing. Um, so she certainly wasn't fading in my mind or anything like that, but it was just, longer and, probably feeling more comfortable in terms of like transitioning to the schools there and making friends and things like that. But um, I never really did like school when I was younger.
Hmm. Okay, well, next question is kind of going, I think, is going back here to the, but you can talk about your sister, the female that's sitting in the chair and looking out in the ocean. So tell me, what is one of your favorite memories that you have of your sister?
Oh gosh, she was just such a sweet person, like so gentle, so kind. Yeah, just a wonderful sister to have.
Yes. Well, I think energetically she's always, you know, with you. They're encouraging you because, like I said, the whole deep love of family and friends, because you definitely seem to have this network of individuals that are supporting you based off even the comments here. I mean, the whole sending the love, like, just is truly there, for sure, in that regard. So, where So this question is coming through. How does music play out in your life? Like, what is,
So
yeah.
yeah, at my church, I play the piano and organ.
Mm-hmm.
I've done that for 13 years here, and then for a bunch of years there was a gap before that, but then a bunch of years before that at the church near where my parents live.
Mm-hmm.
So that way, but then also I have found through the show Showing Up Perspectives on Cancer, we hold in-person events now as well. We just held the second one,
Mm-hmm.
and I really feel like both years we've been able to bring people who are talented when it comes to music into the events, and it really just adds this special vibe to the event. I've found.
Mm-hmm. So I'm just drawn to this music oracle deck, and the energetic vibe that's coming up here is Janis Joplin. And here's what it
Okay.
says on the card. It says, evolve, but don't compromise. You are all you've got. The power of love must replace the love of power. You are far greater than the sum of your fears. Are you familiar with Janis Joplin at all?
Not really, no.
Okay. So here's what it says about Janis. So it says, in the era of winsome, wife-like songstress, Janis Joplin's raw sound and electrifying knife-edging performances show that what a woman unleashed could be. The quintessential 1950s smart girl misfit, Joplin escaped a stifling suburban upbringing to become the ultimate 60s acid queen with her bangles, rose-tinted glasses, and feather boas. Mashing up psychedelic rock with the blues inspired vocals, this trippy, sexy extrasensual with a superhuman voice was a one of a kind woman, musical earthquake. Sadly, the pressures of fame combined with a voracious appetite for drugs, alcohol, and men obscured her sensitive and inquisential soul. Her roller coaster of a life was cut tragically short by an accidental overdose at the age of 27. How old was your sister when she passed away?
7.
Okay, so I got a chill. What I came through was the message of that even though she was 7, and based off what you were sharing, that she had like this rocking life. Like she was no, it was short, like it was fun. It was exciting. And that even on the other side that she is, like I said, with you, still there, looking out for you, still connected to you, and that it's still a good time and that you would continue to think about her in an exciting way. Does that make sense for you?
Yeah, I definitely still think about her, and she is a very fun person and like a free spirit kind of. So that
Mhm.
that definitely resonates.
Okay. So you got the diagnosis. You're still fighting. You're still here. So tell me, what does Tim look like in his life and is experiencing 2 years from now?
Good question. um, I I want to figure out ways to be more happy, to bring myself more joy. Um, I'm going to create a nonprofit around Showing Up Perspectives on Cancer. So I'm really excited about that too. And
Mhm.
everything I do with Showing Up is about letting other cancer patients, survivors, and supporters know they're not alone, and to encourage them to share their stories. So like, for example, in terms of the joy part, a few months ago, I went up in a hot air balloon. That's something I've always wanted to do, but I don't know if I've ever would have done it unless my cancer came back.
Hmm. Tell me more.
When my cancer came back, it just gave me this new look at life. Like, what are things that I've wanted to do, and let's start doing them, because you never know whether you have cancer or not. You never know how long you're going to live. So my kind of like my mantra now is like, live life now.
Yes. So the song that so now the connection. I know it's not Janis Joplin, but I live in Arkansas, and I think his name was Chris. And the song that resonated with me, he was a contestant on I think American Idol. And the song that stood out for me was Live Like You're Dying. And based off of what you're sharing in the experience, that's what they did. It's like you get this news, and he goes on this journey of doing all these different things. Wait, I'm thinking of two songs. I know it was Chris, Live Like You're Dying. I think that's him. Look that up, Tim. Live Like You're Dying. I think it's by Chris from the American Idol. But the whole premise of that song is you have this time, like take advantage of that. And so the next card that also came up here was this hand mudra that talks about what on the bottom it says higher meaning, be profound. And here's what it says on the back of the card, Tim. What is the meaning of life? What is the sense in all the challenges which we have to face and the blows of fate which buffet us in time again? I find the yoga philosophy to be a help in approaching these questions. It teaches us that we can instill meaning into our lives by setting ourselves tasks that help us to have inner growth, wisdom, and integrity, as well as through prayer and meditation, which brings us closer to the divine. We will certainly never get to the bottom of it all, but in itself, it makes sense. Place your thumbs at the base of your little fingers with your hands in front of your solar plexus and face forward. Say or sing the following affirmation with favor. Like I said, music, maybe this is hand mudra of those moments that when you're feeling sad or something blue, but using those things like lapis lazuli to talk about, the songs to energize, to think about your life, to continue on because you have a higher purpose and meaning. Like 2 years from now, like you want to start this nonprofit, you want to do all these different things. And then the next one was like, okay, well, who energetically is it being? And you have this Egyptian goddess of Serapis Bay. And here's what it says: Ascension, move into your true self, rise above the darkness, the light is here.
I love that. Sounds
And
good to me.
lapis lazuli is very muchly used in the Egyptian period. And a matter of fact, as it
Oh,
even says here, ancient Egyptians used it to create blue cosmetics. They used it in their paintings, the artwork and all those different things. So encouragement, remembering your sister, remembering the life that she had, continue to take care of yourself in the nature and the walks. Do all of these things when you're feeling blue about the cancer coming back. Because like I said, blue own that, like you can feel that way, but it's not down. I don't think it's gonna make you feel just completely just taken over, but be encouraged. Use your family, use your friends that are here supporting you to keep you on that continuous journey. Your life has definitely a higher meaning and a purpose for sure. And going back to claiming detoxification, having these things, it left you before, it can leave you again. And believe in that.
I like it. This is really interesting.
Well, I appreciate you sharing your story and continue on with your journey in doing that. So, for individuals that want to know more about your podcast and say, "Hey, where can I learn and watch, Tim and continue to support him?" Where can they reach you?
They could go to perspectivesoncancer.com, or they could just look for me on LinkedIn. I'm most active there.
Hmm. Well, well, thank you so much for joining us. And so life now is a encouraging word that you got from Nancy at this time. And thank you, Nancy, for really enjoying the show. Thanks for sharing. Well, thank you. It's just an opportunity to connect with all of the higher beings and yes, a higher purpose. For those of you who are interested in being a guest on All Intuitive Conversation, send me a message on LinkedIn. You can also learn on my website at All Intuitive Conversation. And until we meet again, this has been an All Intuitive Conversation.